What if we told you that the juggernauts known as Marvel and DC almost didn't exist? Simply because in the 90s they became so popular that nobody wanted anything to do with them.
Hi, I'm Tom Doler,
I'm Justin Deesberg.
and this is Distinguished Dorks.
We are just a couple of nerds that have a lot of fun ideas for different topics and think we can enable a conversation for anybody to listen to. We have three separate channels. We have Distinguished Dorks Comics, Distinguished Dorks Politics, and Distinguished Dorks History. We wanted to take a dive into these three subjects because it's what we bond over the most, and it's what we feel like needs to be talked about the most.
For sure. Three topics. I can't say enough about how, important history is. Politics is fun. It's not fun, but it's kind of fun.
It it can be fun as long as you don't like look at one side or the other, and you can kind of find the
Right.
truth in the middle.
If you can laugh at everybody and, stay true to your principles, it's good stuff.
Oh
It's good
yeah,
stuff.
for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. And then on top of that, I mean, comic books are just kind of fun, but there's kind of some dark and twisted history in there,
For
some
sure.
somewhere along the way, and we're going to get into that in today's episode. But this is just a brief introduction for our channel and, well, our channels, I should say.
That's right.
And so this is going to be one of the videos that's cross posted for all of our channels, and then we might have other episodes cross posted in the future, but this is just where we're starting.
For sure. Comic books, history, and politics. I think that most everyone probably can find one of those three that they're a little bit interested in. Should be good.
Oh yeah, especially the economic bubble that we're about to get into with 90s comics, especially kind of involves all of those topics in like a, a bubble.
Right? No pun intended, right?
No pun absolutely intended.
Oh my gosh. Dope. All right. Well, shall we get into it?
Oh yeah.
Dope. Okay, so to start with, you know what? I'm going to pull up an image. Okay.
Okay.
This is.
And for you audio listeners, I will try to describe what image I'm, I'm looking at. But if you are watching this on YouTube, obviously you can see the picture.
So this here is X Force number one. Now, what do you notice about this image?
I notice that everyone is looking at me with a deep, grimacing look.
You should be used to that by now.
Oh
That's
yeah,
that's just a Thursday for you.
oh yeah, for sure.
Right? I mean, it's written and drawn by one dude, Rob Liefeld. Well, okay, it's helped along by Fabian Nicieza, but this is Liefeld's baby, right? And you look at that ugly, ugly mess. That is the second best selling comic book of all time.
That I
This,
mean, they
yeah.
say you can't judge a book by its cover, but I feel like we should start somewhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's the thing about this. It's even uglier on the inside. The artist Rob Liefeld couldn't decide how many fingers people should have, or how many teeth they have, or which side of the hand the thumb goes on. So sometimes he would put the thumb on both ends, or whatever.
So
Uh,
basically, he was doing AI renderings before AI renderings existed.
he is a pioneer.
He is the inspiration.
Right? Yeah, yeah, exactly. He was doing oblong proportions before it was cool. Um,
And if you are managing to find this and listen to this, we would love to talk to you on on the channel just to kind of see from your perspective on what was kind of going on in this era, but this is just based off of what we're seeing right now.
right? Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, look at Cable here. Cable, I'll just put it out there, one of my favorite comic book characters. He is so cool. Apparently, he left all of his fingers in the future. Um, and along with his sense of humor, I don't know. He's more pouch than man.
So the image of Cable we're looking at, obviously, when you think of any sort of human-sized character, you imagine them to look like a regular person. This looks like all of the football pads that a football player would wear with no person behind them. It's just the football pads, maybe a worn out jersey, and a mean face. There's no neck involved in this picture at all.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And he's holding a gun, not pointed forward, pointed off to the side, kind of. It's he's just kind of crouched down behind the. I don't know. It's supposed to look cool, but looks like it's his first time picking up a gun, and he's not really sure what to do with it.
Well, I mean, you do have to show the side profile because if I were to see that picture head on, I'd be like, what's this guy holding a bottle of Head and Shoulders for? You know what I mean?
Valid point.
So anyway, let's get into why this is one of the best selling, but probably shouldn't have been.
Right. So back in the '90s, um, I want to say early '90s or late '80s, you had some people who started selling old comic books, and we're talking old. Like these were copies of like Superman #1 or Detective Comics 27, which is the first appearance of Batman.
Yeah.
This is stuff that appeared like
Which is my favorite, by the way.
everybody likes Batman.
I have like 30 different Batmobiles, like model cars. My first car, I painted it. We called it the Batmobile. It looked nothing like it. If I can find that image, I may or may not add it to this video.
Oh, please
because
do.
it was atrocious. I was 18 with a couple spray paint cans and a cardboard and a dream, and it did not work out. It was a nightmare.
You're saying this car will not strike fear into the hearts of criminals everywhere.
No, it made people laugh and question my decisions, which I mean is pretty on par for what I do on on my other platform. For those of you guys who are watching this because I shared it on my channel, I have another YouTube channel where I do stuff with vehicles. That's called Rigs and Stranded, RIGS and Stranded. Feel free to check it out if you want to see some of those menacing looking vehicles. Basically, I'm going through my car phase the same way that these comics did in the 90s.
It is pretty dope. You definitely check it out. But anyway, yeah, so say like grandma finds in her attic like a copy of Action Comics #1 or something, right? It's this, something that her kid might have played with and left there, and now for some reason it's in perfect mint condition, right? So she goes and sells it, and it sells for like thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars. I don't know. I'd have to check for inflation, but she sells for it, and it makes a lot of money, and it makes headlines. And this makes people think, oh, well, that means that comic books will become valuable at some point. Especially like Action Comics #1. This is Superman's first appearance. #1 equals valuable.
Yeah, because Superman #1 was a huge deal when
Mm-hmm.
it came out. And Superman initially was just kind of a strongman, so to speak. I think he was modeled after strongmen in the circus.
Yeah,
If
that's why he wears the underwear over his pants.
and which by the way, I'm super glad that they brought that
Right?
into the James Gunn the Superman
It
movie.
fits the aesthetic.
I mean, it's everybody is kind of like complaining because he's kind of like a vanilla version of Superman, but I think in an era of wanting more comic accurate like superheroes, we have to kind of push that barrier a little bit to kind of get back to the basics. But anyway,
Right.
when that comic came out, obviously it was a huge deal. I mean, it opened up the imaginations of like millions of people. I mean, me and you included.
Yeah,
Obviously, we wouldn't be talking about it had that issue never been made. I mean, that issue inspired other people, well known people like Stan Lee and so many others to kind of get us to where we're at.
exactly. Pop culture, I mean, culture wouldn't be the same without Superman. That's, you know, it just wouldn't be. So obviously that's going to sell for a lot of money, but that's the thing. Just because something has a number one doesn't automatically make it valuable. It's got to be a number one from something that people are interested in, have like have people still be interested in it decades later, interested enough that they'll pay lots of money for. Like Superman and Batman are big enough deals that people who don't read comic books know who they are, and they'll pay a lot of money to have the first issue of those ones. That's, it's not just going to collect dust in the back of some collector's comic book collection. That's going to go in a frame picture in some super rich dude's den.
Well, yeah, because they're iconic characters, first of all. They introduce kind of a different character dynamic that maybe reflects to like some average people. Superman was kind of like the inspiration for a lot of people to kind of look forward and see themselves and try to find the hero that's with inside of them. And for me, Batman is my favorite because he became a hero out of tragedy. He took a super traumatic experience from when he was a child and kind of flipped that in a way to where he's able to help people in his world, so to speak. And so these iconic characters that have something you can relate to make them way more real, so to speak. And I think with, looking back at the image of Cable, I mean, this is an era of comic books I tend to skip. Um, don't get me wrong, there's some great ones in there. Um, the 90s introduced a lot of iconic characters that still had that like gusto behind them. But when I see art like this Cable or uh, the Captain America that shall not be named,
That's another one we should put in the image. Folks, if you haven't seen Rob Liefeld does Captain America, you are in for a treat.
when we say that Rob Liefeld is, AI's best like impersonator before AI imaging was a thing, we mean it. Everything was disproportionate, and like I said, if you happen to listen to this, we'd love to get your perspective on it. We know there was kind of an interesting dynamic that was going on, and you were kind of shoved into the limelight. Uh, Maybe a little too soon because you had a couple really big wins, but you know, I'm by no means a great artist myself. I mean, I paint landscapes. I, you know, paint cars, which is completely different than drawing comic book characters. But I feel like if you have an art style, you should kind of stick with that.
uh,
But yeah, so this is kind of an era of comic books I generally skip
yeah.
or look over because a lot happened and there was a lot of new characters that was just shoved in our face as like the next big thing. One of the ones that I think of with comic books becoming like a rising thing and everybody trying to, get the first issue. I have to get this. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. This, the other thing is Youngblood.
Young blood. That's right.
That was the most overhyped, over anticipated. Like I believe at the time it was the number one sold comic, and it might still be up there with you know how many issues were printed and how many people bought them for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars.
Right.
And now it's worth like the post-it note that you send it to your DI on.
I mean, for reals, I remember when I was first buying comic books, like brand new. I went down to the comic book store and they had a bin for comic books for 25 cents. I thumbed through there and there were like 16 copies of Youngblood number one. I remember buying it just out of morbid curiosity, and I remember reading it, and I was pretty young, so I'm reading through this, and I'm like, I don't understand a thing that's going on here. Maybe I'll understand it when I'm older and more mature. I got older and more mature, and I still don't understand a thing that's going on in there. But it's yeah, it sold. I don't know how well it sold, but it definitely sold better than like a first issue from an indie publisher should have sold. But it was the '90s. People assume that every time you buy a number one, that's going to acquire value. And these aren't people who are comic book fans. These are normies who think that if they buy 16 copies of The Death of Superman or X-Men Volume 2, Number 1, they're going to put their kids through college. But the problem is you buy 16 copies. If everyone buys 16 copies, well, it's not going to be valuable because value comes from uh, desire and scarcity. How much do people want something and how common is it?
So, what would the difference of, flooding the stock market and flooding the comic book market? What's the difference behind both of those? Because I kind of don't see any.
Well, think about it like this. Um, imagine you want stock in some company. Why do you want stock in this company?
Because it feels exclusive. It feels like I'm going to be part of that.
Exactly. And there's only so much stock available for you to buy, and you assume by buying it that there's going to be some sort of value, right? And yeah, I mean, it's the same thing here. Everyone buys these comic books because they're like, oh, it's going to be valuable. I am going to be so smart. And it's that's the problem. There's no scarcity, and the problem is a lot of these things just don't acquire value. Like nobody is going back to read in comic book circles, no one's going back to read Youngblood number 1 as some sort of iconic classic the way they are going back to read the Age of Apocalypse or the or Nightfall or something like that. They're just no one's going back to read it because it's not a very good comic book.
Yeah. I mean, you might have like the few like super fans,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, because every fandom has some sort of like extreme fandom. So there's got to be a group of like 12 guys that have a Reddit thread where that's like the knees bees over there.
Right? Yeah. Now I'm really morbidly curious. Hey, if you're out there and you love Youngblood, you know what? No judgment. You do you, friend. We're all into something weird.
And we're not talking about Youngblood, the one that Ozzy Osbourne passed the torch to. Spelt different, completely different. I would
No.
actually listen to Youngblood's music.
Rob Liefeld was not involved.
Yeah, yeah. Or was he?
Oh crap.
The AI imaging, he could be anywhere.
How deep does this conspiracy go?
I mean, if you squint at RL, it kind of looks like AI.
Ooh, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Well, folks, we've uncovered the lizard people's conspiracy, so this will be our last podcast. Thank you for listening. It's been good.
And if this video somehow continues, it's because we had an AI takeover and now you're just listening to our voice. So it's going to sound a little bit different.
I'd like to take this moment to assert that AI is great and wonderful, and I have always loved AI. Praise Skynet.
Praise Skynet. Talk about a classic right there.
Oh my gosh. Well, the first two anyway, but we don't
Yeah.
we don't talk about the other two.
Well, there's more?
Oh, thank you. That was the correct response. Dark what now? Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I think that's a meteor. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god. Wasn't it like 2 days ago that the internet was saying that everyone was going to get raptured or something?
I think it was yesterday. No, it was Monday.
Yeah. Well, figures you're still here. I
Yeah,
mean,
Monday, September 22nd was the supposed rapture. So if you're listening to this, I mean, you're a degenerate just like us.
welcome to hell.
Spelt Hel.
That's right. The comic book fans in the audience are loving it.
Yeah, everyone else is like, what are these two dweebs talking about?
Oh my gosh, for reals. For reals. Oh, where were we?
I don't know. We both have ADHD and both love what we're talking about. I think we were on the differences between stocks and like kind of flooding the market.
That's right. Yeah. It's like okay. It's if everybody wants like, let's say there's a new pair of shoes out that gets released, and these shoes are special. There's only 100 of them made, and they're really really cool shoes. They're valuable because everyone wants one. If people want it, then they're exceptionally valuable because everyone wants one. There's only 100. Now the folks who make the shoes go back and they make say 500 more. Well, the value of those shoes is going to go down because now they're not as rare as they used to be. Now, if they make even more, so now there's one in every single Walmart on the planet, well, the value is going to go down considerably. Like, for instance, nobody is going out to be the first one to buy a Snickers bar tomorrow because there are millions of Snickers bars across the planet. They are abundant, and you're only going to get one Snickers bar worth of pleasure out of it. Me, I'm a Milky Way guy, so that's only going to go so far for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or Mars bar. Mars bar is good.
I used to be a crunch guy.
Oh,
I used to like crunch bars, but I kind of steered away from chocolate altogether.
that's for the
I like
best.
sour candies.
Sour candy's
Like
good.
a good gummy, like sour gummy worm.
Okay, my wife, she doesn't like sour stuff. She doesn't like sour foods or sour drinks. I love Frescas. She doesn't care for them.
Hmm.
It's but she loves chocolate, so
I mean, to each their own.
to each their own.
Unless you're a cannibal, then it's to eat your own.
Also true. If we have any cannibals in the audience, please send us your favorite recipes. We'd love to hear them.
Getting canceled before we start.
Didn't say we'd use them. Oh my gosh.
Gives a side eye, just so you guys know. He said he wouldn't use them and then gave me the side eye. So if I disappear, it's not because of AI, it's because of a recipe one of you lovely people sent in.
Make sure it's delicious. It's got to be good enough to end our podcast over.
And please make sure I'm made with something spicy. Like
Ooh, yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want to. Like obviously, I'm of the Caucasian persuasion.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I don't want to die with no spice.
Yeah.
I spent a lifetime learning how to cook, so I knew how to use spice. I don't want to be.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm kind of dreading being cremated because I mean it's just another reason for people to say I'm well done. Like, come on, like, I don't want. I don't want to deal with that. But this period of comic books, just so we can get back on track.
Right.
We can rail off in our conversations like all the time. But this era of comic books, we see a lot of issues like Youngblood, X Force, and a whole lot of other comic books. To be honest, everybody wanted a spinoff. Everybody wanted, their own thing. Everybody wanted, kind of a taste of the pie. And what ended up happening is, let's say I went and bought, the first issue of Youngblood for like $100. I bought 16 of them. And now $1,600 into this thing. But everybody else did the same thing I did. And so I'd go to resell it, but everybody already has it. So who am I going to sell this to? I'm now out, my mortgage payment, my car payment, medical bills. This is the 90s. This covers a lot. Groceries for the next month, it's like,
you blew it on Youngblood.
yeah. My year's salary just gone like that. And it was a huge waste of money. And honestly, this same bubble that 90s comics were in, I think we're kind of seeing that now with Hollywood.
I, we definitely are, like especially like with superhero movies. We are, but Hollywood in general is in a bubble, and it is. I think it's bursting or it's about to
Yeah,
burst.
every now and then, you get really good movies
Hmm.
that come out, and they're not just comic book related movies. I feel like every movie studio feels like they have to have something in the comic book realm.
Hmm.
But the what's going on right now is prequels, sequels, spin-offs. You have writers that are taking on projects that they know nothing about, which I'll get into the Jurassic Park series eventually because that just irks me every direction.
I have thoughts. I have thoughts.
He has thoughts. I have strongly opinionated suggestions and ideas on how we can save the franchise. So if you're a writer or if you're in Hollywood, start listening because we can fix a lot of problems because we are the nerds who go and watch these movies that are kind of sick of going to watch these movies. There was a period of even Marvel movies and DC movies where I just waited until they came out on like HBO or Disney Plus.
The FOMO is dead and gone with those movies.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to a lesser extent, it might be coming back. At least with the DC movies, I'm cautiously optimistic. But yeah, the era of multi-billion-dollar releases for a Marvel movie, it's probably good. Anyway, Distinguished George will save Hollywood. Just wait and see.
We are the answer.
That's right. That's right.
Or could at least voice being part of the answer, I should say.
That's right. So, anyway, in the 90s, imagine your Marvel comics, okay? And you see that X-Men Volume 2 number 1 is selling like hotcakes. That's the single best-selling comic book of all time. And it is selling and selling and selling. Well, you're like, okay, who's buying it? It's not comic book. I mean, it was comic book fans. It's actually a pretty good comic. But a lot of the people buying it are speculators, these people who think it's going to make money. So you start marketing to the speculators. Like you start making things specifically for them. You start making these comic books with like foil covers and new number ones and uh, full of like gimmicks that you think are going to change things. Like we're going to give Spider-Man a billion clones. Okay, we're going to make like a bunch more X-Men spin-offs. We are going to have the Avengers wearing these these edgy '90s jackets now or something like that. They're not going to look like the Avengers. They're going to look like I don't know, but anyway, you start doing things that you think will appeal to the speculators. And that's good as long as the speculators keep buying comic books. But one day the speculators wake up and realize, oh crap, this copy of X Force number 1 I've got is not actually worth anything. I mean, that's another one you'll find like hundreds in like 25-cent bins at your local comic book store. And I mean, 25 cents might be pushing it.
Yeah. I mean, I went through a period of time where I would buy and resell comics, and there was a period of time when I was doing that where it was lucrative, but it was kind of at the same time where I believe like our generation started watching shows like Storage Wars
Mm, yeah.
and everything like that, and even that killed the market because everybody all of a sudden was buying or finding all these collections that people have had for years that are just filled with these 90s comic books that nobody really cares about.
Right,
And it
exactly.
and it's a shame because there are really great ones that are thrown into the mix.
There's some gems. The like I mentioned the Age of Apocalypse. I'm a huge X-Men guy, and the Age of Apocalypse might be like peak '90s superhero fare. I mean, it is just tops.
Well, I
But
mean, it's because it broke the mold of just being for, your everyday, like, family going out and buying these comic books with the hope of paying off their mortgage.
right,
It was one of the few that came out where it was designed specifically for the nerds that were buying comics. Because, I mean, they saw what we're seeing right now in, like, modern history with everything that's going on in Hollywood, of like, oh, we kind of need to throw in a couple bangers every now and then, or we're gonna flop.
or people lose interest, and that's ultimately what happens. Like Marvel, because they're pandering to the collectors, and the collectors stop collecting. Now they're left just with their old fans, but their fans, a lot of them have abandoned the comics because they're like, what, another Spider-Man clone? It's like, oh, okay, so I guess, um, I guess Batman's just going to be about Azazel now, or like the regular fans are disappointed. And they've started leaving the books, and so the comic book market collapses. Marvel has to file for bankruptcy in the 90s. Like,
Which is crazy to think about.
right?
Well, it's also not the first time Marvel has had to deal with filing for bankruptcy, but it was one of the ones that kind of was almost the end of an era completely, because DC was on the brink of doing the same thing as well, and like this huge flood of the market was almost the reason why they failed. I mean, we know Captain America and Iron Man as the characters we know today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Kind of the first time that Marvel saw this collapse was back in the 70s when they made the original like Avengers movie. I think it was the 70s.
Let's see, the original Avengers movie.
Is it the 70s or 80s?
I'm trying to remember. I know there was a Captain America movie in like the late 80s, early 90s where Captain America just keeps stealing people's cars.
Yeah.
That was great. I love the reference to it in Winter Soldier where Cap is stealing a car and someone calls him out on
Yeah.
it.
That was pretty funny.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, like, you would think they would learn their lesson of like what happened during this era and kind of tailoring to the everyman. I mean, what ended up happening is you get crappy storylines, and it keeps happening.
Right?
And honestly, hey, Marvel and DC and my local Cinemark movie theaters, if you guys are listening, I would love for you guys to start paying for my movie tickets because I go frequently. In fact, we have an agreement
Mm-hmm.
where I, I I don't like spoilers. I don't like scrolling through, and if there's something huge that happened, I'm like, oh shoot, I should have watched it. So to be 100% honest with you, I still go to the movie theaters quite often, and we have an agreement that if I think it's good, I tell him, and then he'll go watch it.
That's true.
If I tell him to avoid it, he'll avoid it. If I tell him like, I mean, you can go if you want. There's nothing really big. If you want me to spoil it for you, I can, but
Yeah. So, point is, Hollywood, you make Justin happy. That's like 2 ticket sales, and I'll tell everyone who cares to listen if it's a good movie. I don't know how much stock you people put in my opinions, but anyway, new Superman movie. It was good. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. You've probably seen it. Go see it. It was good.
yeah. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, he's just kind of like a wimp compared to like the other Superman. My problem with Superman movies is always this like sense of like he knows he's invincible, and so he can be cocky, and he's just pure aggression. It's kind of like it's kind of as if Superman was directed by like an 80s action movie of like, I'm tough, I'm strong, I survive everything.
But not even a good 80s action movie, like a cheap 80s action movie. Like, we're talking about Zack Snyder now, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Man of Steel,
It
Man,
wasn't
Man
bad.
of Steel.
It had its
I'm not
moments.
a I'm not a Superman guy myself. I'm a Batman guy.
Mhm.
Like I always have been. And by the way, I will die on this hill from what I'm about to say. Adam West and Michael Keaton are the best Batman to have been renditioned into live action
Ooh.
because you get the comic, like funny side of comic books from Adam West,
Mm-hmm.
and then you kind of get like the, in my opinion, a more comic book accurate version from Michael Keaton that you
Interesting.
just don't see anywhere else. I will die on that hill. I know a lot of you got into Batman from watching The Dark Knight and seeing Christian Bale, but to be 100% honest with you, Christian Bale's just too short to be Batman. Yeah,
Well, I mean, he's just the right height to play Bruce Wayne, of course, who is too short to be Batman. I mean, Christian Bale is obviously not Batman.
yeah. But that being said, like Man of Steel, I felt was good because we saw a more human side of Clark Kent.
Yeah.
You know, the comic books show kind of like this nerdy, semi outgoing, uh, you know,
Like
kind of a
Boy Scout
guy.
type.
And then when he's Superman, it's not like that personality changes. It's the perception of like, oh, he's a super strong, invincible hero. And in the comics, we don't really see that behavior continue of like the I'm strong, I'm tough, I can survive everything. I mean, we see it every now and then when Superman is comparing himself to like other members of the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
But what I really liked about the new Superman, and everybody was complaining about it being woke, and
I
like
I didn't see
I
that.
didn't see it at
No.
all. I saw Superman being a person. He might be an alien from another planet. He might be the strongest being in existence. He might be able to fly super fast and all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, he was raised by people,
Yeah.
and it's the uh, people side of it that I really enjoyed because we finally got another superhero film where you can kind of connect with the characters that are in play. And it's been a while since DC has had anything like that. I think where DC peaked, honestly, was with their TV series.
The
The
first few seasons of Arrow were pretty good,
Yeah,
and the first couple seasons of The Flash I didn't think were too bad either.
yeah, first season of Supergirl I thought was really good.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Like it, I think Supergirl got really cringe as it got on, but it started out pretty strong.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I mean, with uh with comic books, I mean we've kind of seen the same thing go by.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I mentioned earlier, my you know Batman being one of my favorite heroes is because he was born in tragedy. I mean, I know it was Bane that was famously said, "I was born in the darkness, molded by it, raised by it." But I mean, people who have had traumatic experiences, myself included, we're kind of all forged from that darkness that we've experienced. And Superman was way more relatable when he was first released because it was just a strong man from a circus, who could like was strong enough to lift a car. He was kind of like the Eddie Hall of
Right.
comic books back in the day, so to speak.
And he was
And
using his strength to enact change that the average person was not capable of doing. It was a cathartic wish fulfillment. Early Superman.
oh yeah, and in '90s comics, we see a lot of like the more outlandish like superheroes come into play. We see a lot more of like the stranger storylines come into play. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Marvel Zombies, I think, is a fantastic concept,
Right,
but
the
it's
2000s
because,
classic.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it still has that like human connection, and I feel like a majority of '90s comics that we see that just absolutely flooded the market. Basically, '90s comics are what honestly, anything in the '90s was overdone, overplayed, and overflooded. We see it with baseball cards.
Mm-hmm.
We see it with Pokemon cards. We see
Mm-hmm.
it with Magic the Gathering. We see
Right.
it with
Beanie Babies.
Yeah, with Beanie Babies. I mean, we see it all the time where people get overhyped over specific things. And that's not to say that, the value of the first Superman has gone down. I would argue to say that it continues to grow.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every time Action Comics 1 is resold, it sets a new record for.
Yeah. But it goes to show that something genuine, something that is truly treated as, like its own thing, has the potential to grow to become a legend.
Mm-hmm.
But if you try to force it, if you try to, I, I'm just going to go into the lesson of today's episode really quick. I know we've been all over the place. I don't apologize because we're going to be all over the place a lot, but we have like a main theme in mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to overwhelm the market with anything, that's a concept, that's an idea, even even trying to cram religion or like politics
Right.
or like your own personal beliefs into every single page, every single shelf, people are going to get tired of it because it no longer feels personal.
Right.
Um, I'm
Exactly.
a huge fan of Hot Wheels. Also, I mentioned earlier that I have so many different um, like Batmobiles and Hot Wheels. I will buy all the Batmobiles. I will still buy each and every single iteration. I'm one of the few in this case. But you see like this overwhelming need to create something new or to one up the last, and it often comes off as rushed. I mean, following Avengers Endgame,
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that the best one that's come out since then that kind of gave you that like got you excited about everything happened years later, and it's a movie that just came out called Thunderbolt.
That's right. I mean, Marvel. Yeah, again, it's flooding the market. Same thing. Same mistake they made with comic books. They're like, oh, people like Marvel, so we'll just make it so there's always a Marvel thing. Like on either theaters or Disney Plus, there is always a Marvel thing, and they didn't realize that people like part of what made Marvel valuable is it was an event. Like once, twice, maybe three times a year, there is a new Marvel thing, and everyone will go, and then they'll spend the rest of the year talking about that Marvel thing and how it's going to impact the next Marvel thing. When there is always a Marvel thing, it it doesn't feel as special. And like the first three phases of the MCU, they weren't perfect. There were some movies that were stronger than others, but we gave them a pass because we were so excited about the next
Yeah,
Marvel thing.
I mean,
Now,
yeah, you kind of had the misses of like Iron Man 3, which that being portrayed as the Mandarin. Oh my
right?
goodness.
Oh my
I
gosh,
wanted to
guys.
punch my TV screen so hard that I was going to need to buy a new TV, and then I was going to rewatch the movie and then punch a hole through that TV also. That
So
made me
disappointing.
so upset.
I mean,
And
I
then
I
then
get why they didn't do it. I'm not sure there's a way you can portray the Mandarin and make it like as we knew him from the comics, and not offend some people. But I don't know why don't bring him up then. Let's have Fireman fight Fin Fang Foom or something. I
yeah, cuz that's more offensive.
mean,
but but it's like it's this over portrayal of trying to force characters like down our throats. I feel like the Black Widow movie was one of the worst Marvel movies to have come out, and it came after Endgame. It's one
Mhm.
of those movies that didn't really make sense why it needed to be made, besides it being a contractual like obligation for Scarlett Johansson.
Right.
Um, it was poorly written. They ruined one of the best characters.
One of the absolute best villains in all of comic books. Taskmaster? Are you kidding me with that?
Yeah, because it's one of those characters that like when you see them, it's the same, almost the same witty banter that Spider Man and Deadpool have,
Yeah.
but a lot more aggressive. Has their power isn't just, oh, I watched a few videos, I know how to fight like this person. It's, I'm fighting this person and actively learning how to combat this person. And we got some mute, hardly could fight and throw a shield villain out of that movie.
right?
The only good thing that came from that is uh, obviously the introduction of Black Widow's sister.
Right. And I'm not. I mean, I'm not even sure that I'm on board with like. I mean, you know, I know she's been used in other places for better things, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it was worth it. Like, I'd rather have my Taskmaster the way I know him.
That's
You
fair.
know,
And then in uh, have you seen Thunderbolts yet?
I actually haven't.
Oh my
I
goodness.
know. I know.
Okay, so I'm not going to say anything else about the new Thunderbolts movie besides watch it. And if you guys are listening to this, tell him to watch it.
I
'Cause
know. I'm. I know. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
the
I
only one that I could get him to watch was Fantastic Four, and
yeah.
that's because I had to pay for the tickets for him and his wife to go see the movie, and I was so frustrated that that's what it took for me to do that. I don't have the money to do that every time. But I mean Thunderbolts is now available for streaming. So I
That's right.
mean,
I have no excuse. I do have Disney Plus. I still have Disney Plus. I have no excuse at all.
yeah, I'm like, come on, get
I
get with the program.
know. I know. I heard the guy who's directing Thunderbolts is directing the new X-Men movie, which means I definitely have to watch Thunderbolts. X-Men is my favorite. Their time in the movies has been yeah, but X-Men comics, like, if there is one franchise, if there's one X-Men fan out there, it's me. If there are no X-Men fans out there, then I am dead, but I'm in the resurrection protocols. The X-Men fans listening to that know what I mean.
I am going to say something super controversial
Go
right
on.
now. X-Men Origins Wolverine
Uh-huh.
is one of my favorite movies.
Oh, okay. You know what? We
Hold
need
on,
to we
hold
need
on.
to do a podcast specifically for
I
this.
need to say a few caveats to that.
Okay,
A,
okay.
I know that is the worst iteration of Deadpool to have ever existed.
Go on.
Okay, so I know that. It was really nice being able to see Wolverine with bone claws.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give you
I
that.
think the original iteration of Sabretooth was kind of outlandish, and we kind of got a more, not necessarily real, but we got like a,
One that could talk
yeah,
and
one that
yeah.
can talk and have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
But it also introduced a character I never thought I would see on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But then they killed him right away. I was so frustrated.
Yeah.
Darwin is one of, like, in my opinion, one of the most overpowered, like, X-Men.
Yeah. I Darwin is I don't know. Darwin is a whole thing about just, meta his creation and what people thought of him and how he was anyway, I'm getting off that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go on, go on.
But I mean, we see an introduction of like a brand new set of characters that like have the potential to continue the franchise. I mean, um we had the Gambit
Mm-hmm.
that was in there, beautifully played in that movie. I know he didn't have that deep Creole accent that he's supposed to have,
Yeah.
but we still got to see him on screen for the first time. I mean, I don't know about you, but there's only like so much of seeing Magneto and Xavier and like the same, people that we've seen since day one.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to have a movie that had a break in that narrative and introducing a lot of these characters. And this was also at a time where I didn't really know a whole lot about the X-Men, but I think that movie, had they tweaked a few things and given Deadpool, the go ahead to be who Deadpool is, that had the potential to be one of the best X-Men movies ever. And I wish they would have made more origin movies, but because of how like
How
bad
that
that
was
was
performed,
perceived,
yeah.
it was not one that they wanted to continue with. And I was just like, ah,
I'll
ah,
I'll give that one credit, even though it wasn't my favorite. Like it was almost the entire movie was almost worth it just for that gag at the end of Deadpool 2, where he shows up and kills Origins Deadpool,
oh yeah,
and
no,
then
that was
goes him back in time and kills Ryan Reynolds before he can say yes to the script for Green Lantern.
yeah, that was pretty funny. Again, I think Green Lantern was like a terrible movie,
Mm-hmm.
but as like if you think of it as like a B grade superhero movie, it makes it way better to watch. It's like a Thor: Love and Thunder. Don't go into it thinking
Ooh,
it's a Marvel movie. Go into it thinking it's a Taika Waititi movie.
that just happens to have Marvel characters in
Yeah,
it.
it makes it so much more enjoyable to watch because kind of gives you this what's the show that Taika Waititi did?
Oh,
What We Do in the Shadows.
is that Taika? I thought that was some other dude. Anyway, point it. Yeah.
I think he either did the show or he did the movie.
Oh, I can't remember. But anyway, yeah,
We
Love and
need
Thunder.
our own Jamie. Jamie, Google that.
Jamie from uh, Jamie, if you are watching this, if you were by some miracle listening to this, Google that and then email to us. I know you have the time. Come on.
Yeah, but for the meantime, I guess I'll Google it.
Thank you, Jamie. Away from Jamie.
No problem, Jamie from Jamie. But I think we're just I mean like I said, we're just seeing this huge inflation of just a bunch of nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
and we really need to take a step back. Honestly, I think if Hollywood just took a hiatus for 6 months, came out with nothing new, looked back at every single script that they're coming out with,
Mm-hmm.
and talk to maybe not us, but maybe
Like
other people.
regular viewers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like or even other influencers like I mean, you have like Screen Rant, or you
Uh,
have um, what are those two brothers? I forget their names. The
Pooh.
Carlin brothers. No, not Carlin brothers. What are they called?
Oh, I can't remember. I'm
I
sure.
can't remember
Yeah.
either. But you have a lot of people that have a lot more of a standing in this
Yeah, like regular people and stuff.
field than we do that can sit there and you know have more of an input because
Mm-hmm.
they have more of a presence on what movies and TV shows need. Yep, What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, hey, crap.
I knew
Quap.
it was him. I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
called it.
it's got to be him.
Taika. Oh man, so like even with movies, it doesn't even have to be like the fact every movie doesn't need to be like a multi-million-dollar affair. Like there's a reason why there haven't hasn't been like very many strong comedies for the last decade, and that's because
I have heard, I have heard that the new Naked Gun was pretty good.
yeah, oh, it was funny.
Oh, you've seen it?
No. I've seen bits.
Oh,
Someday
okay.
I'm gonna
I
sit down
was
and
like,
watch the
you've
whole
seen
thing.
a movie that I haven't?
I know, like first time for everything,
What
right?
happened? What's going on?
No, but it's like so. It used to be where Hollywood could put out comedies and chick flicks and all sorts of types of movies, and the stuff that didn't do well because they maybe it didn't sell as well as they'd like. Well, they'd make up the difference in DVD sales afterwards, right?
Yeah.
But then streaming happened. There are no new DVD sales, so now Hollywood can't take risks on these comedies or chick flicks or stuff that's not going to gross like a you know bazillion dollars. They are going to make only like these giant tentpole movies, which is fine as long as they're good and people go see them. But once people start to get sick of them, well then Hollywood's screwed and they can't go back to making well they have to go back to making the more minor, smaller movies that are a bit more of a risk and like we talked about economic bubbles, Hollywood's put everything into these giant movie franchises. And that's why they won't take a risk on anything new. Everything has to be based on a book or based on a TV show from 6 years ago. If you're Disney, it's like well, I guess we're just going to remake a cartoon from 3 years ago. And, no one wants to take a risk on anything new because, well, that's a risk,
Yeah,
and
because
Hollywood
they're
is risk
putting their money
averse.
into something that's quote unquote tried and true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
but people are getting less and less interested. Movies are dying, and Hollywood needs to put out like new stuff and smaller stuff if they want to bring people
you
back.
want to know what is succeeding though?
What's that?
TV series. Um, Fox just came out with the new Alien Earth series. It's the aliens from Aliens versus Predator, Aliens and all that,
Okay.
and that TV show is well written, has great character development. The CGI is outstanding. Uh, I'm not an expert of CGI, but I watch Corridor Crew like
Huh.
religiously, and so I can kind of like, oh, they're using that effect. They're using that effect. There's so much stuff in this movie where all of that gets overlooked because of how well everything is done. And I've noticed that with other TV shows that are going on that are kind of under the radar. I mean, we saw it with Loki. Loki was well written. CGI was great. The character development. I mean, we still got to see Loki go through a character development in 2 seasons.
That's true. That's true.
But when movies take the time, when TV series take the time to let stories play out, we can see the hard work that's being done. We saw that with Marvel all the way up until the end of Phase 4 was a long drawn out storyline that took place over several movies, over several TV shows that had this beautiful payout. And with the TV series, we can get those longer storylines that are drawn out. We can get those individual things that make sense with the end product. What I'm sick of seeing, and I don't know if you are, is going into a movie, anticipating a sequel, and them kill the big bad
Right
at
away.
the end of the movie.
Right, right.
It's like
Like
we
they did
don't.
in Quantumania or The Last Jedi or one of these one of these other movies that's supposed to be part of a franchise, and they're like, oh no, the big bad is gonna fall victim to our comedic
Yeah,
tropes
because
or something.
pretty soon we're going to be running out of big bads for both Marvel and DC. I mean, they got rid of Doomsday, which is crazy. They got rid of. I'm talking about the maybe not Doomsday, but the Snyderverse. But
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right. I remember
yeah,
now.
they just complete like they got
I blocked out most of Superman v Batman because it's oh man, I could talk for hours and
oh,
hours about Superman v Batman. Oh my
and we'll
gosh.
do a different thing on that. One thing I will say is Teen Titans Go made a joke about that,
I saw that.
and it was hilarious. I like when big companies like that can take shots at themselves for like we get it, we messed up, my bad, and it kind of it's like it's refreshing to know that they're taking some sort of accountability.
Yeah.
But with Marvel, I mean, at the end of Shang-Chi, they got rid of the Ten Rings. Well, I mean, the guy who was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
holder of the Ten Rings.
The I guess he was the Mandarin, but he wasn't. But he was. Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Just kind
Yeah,
of like that whole weird storyline.
yeah.
Uh,
That movie is
If
I don't
they
know. I
if they would have
completely
put
blocked it out. I
if they would have
forgot
put
about it.
those effects in the shall not be named Avatar: The Last Airbender, like it would have been so much better.
The saga of Ong, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The awful movie is what that was.
I like to tease my my nieces and nephew. They'll watch the show sometimes. I'm like, you know what bothers me about the show? They always get Aang's name wrong. It's everyone knows it's Ong.
That's blasphemy. That is heresy of the highest order.
I know. I'm going to nerd prison after this.
Yeah, but with these TV shows, they understand the concept of in the first episode we can't get rid of we can't get rid of the main bad guy because
Right.
we have 8 more episodes that we have to get through.
Mm-hmm.
I wish movies would kind of take a step back if they are planning on franchising and branching out, not killing off the main characters that quickly. I mean, you saw it with kind of a spin-off series with Unbreakable, Glass, and Split.
Mm-hmm.
In the third movie, they killed off the 3 main characters that were leading that whole franchise. It's like you're not thinking things through.
Well, come back for our next movie. It'll be about someone.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating because it's the same issue that people experienced time and time again. I mean, the first time that I feel like America saw something like this economic bubble
Mm-hmm.
as a whole was in cars, like with
With the
vehicles.
automobile
Yeah, the
industry.
automobile industry, because you went through this period of time where you had great vehicles that were being produced, and honestly, the '90s kind of killed a lot of things. They killed baseball trading cards.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just producing millions of baseball cards. I mean, you ask anybody who collects baseball cards, they're looking for '80s or older because
Mm-hmm.
anything '90s and newer is worth like 2 cents.
It's worth nothing.
Yeah, your best hope is to have a rookie card signed by like Tom Brady, but while he was still in his rookie year, that signature,
Right.
because then you even have people going to like these shows, getting everything signed by everybody, and even that gets diluted and like thrown into the market. And with all this AI and all these people doing these mock-ups, that's even flooding the market. I mean, it makes it to where I can get the microphones that we're using right now
Yeah.
for like $60
Just because
off
of
Amazon.
just because there's a huge supply and low demand.
Yeah,
The frustrating thing too. I mean, we look to history. These people should have known better. Like you go clear back to the uh, 1830s, land speculation. Land speculation. People were buying up land everywhere in like back east, like around the Ohio area. It becomes this huge thing. Everyone is sinking land because people are moving out there, so obviously they'll buy land. The problem is there's only so many people who are going to move out west. I say west, Ohio, but there's only so many people who can move out there, and eventually the value of land is going to implode. It caused an economic recession, and this was clear back during the Van Buren administration. This whole thing is not new, but people never learn. People never realize that they're in an economic bubble, or they always think, "Oh, this time will be different," until it's too late, and
well, I mean, there's an old phrase that goes that history repeats itself.
it does.
I would argue that history may not repeat itself, but it does rhyme
It rhymes. Yeah. Oh,
for sure.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like a long running comic book franchise, history will come back to the hits every so often. They'll come back to an economic bubble. They'll come back to putting this or that type of person in power. They'll come just like comic books. We'll keep going back to you know another Superman encounter with Doomsday, another Joker story, another Dark Phoenix saga, or something
Yeah.
like that.
What I would like to see from like Hollywood or anybody in general, like I said, take a take a hiatus,
Mm-hmm.
take a step back, and start taking risks
Mm-hmm.
again. I mean, one of the most popular movies of all time is Napoleon Dynamite.
Classic.
And it's a classic because it wasn't supposed to be as iconic as it is, but a few studios took a chance to like push it further than it was supposed to go. I mean, we saw the same with, Nacho Libre. I mean, Jack Black's entire career was because of chances and risks taken
Right.
on a musician.
Yeah, and I mean, it produced dividends for everyone involved. I mean, your our whatever your opinion of the Minecraft movie notwithstanding, Jack Black is great. It's, but yeah, it's with taking risks, and maybe they shouldn't even. Maybe I'd say Hollywood. Maybe don't even take a break from movies. Take a break from big movies. Go like one of these studios. Like say if you're Disney, because you can afford to do this. If you're Disney, give us like 3 years of nothing that costs over $1 million to make.
Well, I think with that expectation, that's going to be kind of outlandish to do. Because I
That's
mean,
true.
even like paying artists and writers nowadays, every production is going to be over $1 million. But we see instances where Corridor Crew talks about this, and that's how I know about it. There's a TV series through I think Amazon called Love, Death, and Robots,
I've heard of that one.
and it's where they conceptually do a ton of different ideas. Each episode is written by a different person. Each episode has its own artistic take and that sort of thing. And one of the collaborations they had was with an animation artist from YouTube. Forgive me, I can't remember the name of that YouTuber, but he did a Warhammer series on YouTube where he animated like these Warhammer type stories, and the visual effects from that being done in some kids like living room or basement is fantastic to watch. And it's also great to see stories like that end up in something like on Amazon. Now his work was already viewed by millions of people, but having the opportunity to branch out and reach those people that maybe weren't in his audience before, we should take more risks like that.
Mm,
Not everything is going to succeed.
yeah.
I mean, we're we're starting this series of podcasts, and we want it to succeed, but we're never going to know if it is unless we push the envelope.
Exactly. Exactly. And I mean, that's the thing about risks. I'm back in the day, like 20 years ago. Risk might have seemed, these studios might have been adverse to some of these risks. Now, everything is owned by like, say, 3 or 4 studios. Guys, 3 or 4 studios. These guys you can afford to take a few risks. You can afford that. You know?
And by the way, I will get into the history of Hollywood eventually. The history of Hollywood is insane.
It is
I'm not going
totally.
to get into that. We've already gone way overboard with what we were going to conceptually like talk about today's episode, which was just supposed to be about the economic bubble in the 90s. But I mean, when we're talking about politics, history, and comic books, all of this is intertwined somehow.
For reals, people. If you like what you're hearing from us, you can fully expect more of this in the future. I can't promise we'll be more focused, but we will continue to be entertaining. I can promise you that.
What I can promise is we probably never will be 100% focused. Because I mean, we're similar enough in like our thought processes where certain things make sense. Like maybe how I'm explaining something makes perfect sense to me with how I'm explaining it, but then you look at me and you're like, "What the f is this guy talking about?" That's pretty much how our entire friendship has been,
Pretty
is
much.
finding different ways to explain something. I mean, do you mind if I get into your career path very
Uh,
briefly?
uh,
Maybe,
as
maybe.
as long as you're vague, like
Okay.
folks, just so you know, I am being careful about what personal details you share because we'll say some of my future employers might not be as tolerant as I'd like them to be.
And I mean, my face is over the internet like crazy. I mean, I've been grateful to have like I haven't been paid from it. I wish I'd be paid from it
Someday, someday.
someday. But I've had a couple videos go viral over like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I've been in other people's videos that have gone viral. So people might know my face, but they might not know who I am. Not just doing vehicles, but the video where I went viral for somebody else. I was known for being a really chill security guard, which was awesome. But going into kind of like the dynamic that we have, um, we kind of found this like bond over history mainly. And as we started talking and hanging out more, we realized that we have a lot more in common than we think we do. And kind of our qualifications for what we talk about is eventually I'm planning on running for some sort of office, for some sort of senator position, because I'm sick of the way politics is being ran. The comic side of this is just kind of a mental break for both of us
Mm-hmm.
because we both need it. And the history side of it is more of what you're going into.
That's right.
And so this is an outlet for us to kind of look back and use our resources and kind of have this conversation as kind of both professional and both amateurs. And it's not really something I see being done a lot about, because I'm not going to know everything about X-Men.
Most people
I
aren't.
I mean, from the '90s comics, I don't know if I want to know everything about X-Men, you know? I was glad that in Deadpool 2 though that they did have the X-Force, but
Yeah, that was
I
fun.
thought that was funny, and how his suit became gray was just because it was covered in ash. I thought that was pretty funny. I will say I was excited about that. I'm just disappointed they didn't do anything else with that. But it makes sense canonically, like
Yeah,
for
yeah.
storyline wise.
It fits.
And I mean, you might also not know everything that's going on in the world politically, because I'm involving myself a lot more in political topics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm involving myself a lot more in trying to become part of the conversation that takes place with suits and ties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a suit and tie kind of person, so if I look awkward and you guys see me in kind of the public forum, just know that I am awkward. I'm not used to wearing a suit. I mean, even when I go to church, I wear like a plaid shirt and maybe dress pants, but I try to stick with jeans because it's comfortable.
Folks, he's a pretty chill guy. If he looks awkward in a suit, it's because he's a casual guy who's just chill in casual wear. That's what he's good at.
I mean, most of the videos where I'm working on my cars, I'm wearing basketball shorts that I've owned since I was in high school.
There you go. Well, hey, if John Fetterman can do it in politics, so can you.
But I think that's all we have for today's episode. I am excited to see where this goes, and I hope you guys are too. And like I said, this whole platform is to continue a conversation. And so, any opinions you might have, feel free to reach out. We have an email address that you guys can reach us out at. I just need to make sure I'm giving you guys the right email address, because I don't want you guys emailing some rando all of your nonsense and him just panicking, thinking he's going into, uh, like
Right.
manic state. But
Some
our
grandma's gonna pull up her email and see a recipe for preparing humans. It's gonna be.
but the email is distinguishedorks@gmail.com. And also in the comics, feel free to say whatever. I mean, obviously, freedom of speech is a thing.
Based.
However, we need to keep in mind that we're not free from consequences of what we say. And I mean, that goes every way. But that's a conversation for another day. I believe in freedom of speech, but I also believe that there's not necessarily a limit to freedom of speech, but
Well, actions have consequences, and while it would be inappropriate for government to shut down speech, um, there are people who might choose to disassociate with someone for whatever reason. That that's gonna happen. That's a conversation we should totally have down the
Yeah,
line.
for sure,
It
for
should be
sure.
interesting.
And if you guys disagree with us by any means,
Mhm.
feel free to disagree.
That's right.
Like I said, it's a conversation. We want to know why you disagree. We want to hear your opinion, your point of view on our. I think it was on our TikTok account. Somebody was upset that I had used an AI image for our logo. But I mean, both of us have extremely busy schedules. I mean, it was difficult enough to find time to film this
Yeah.
or to film it, record it,
Yeah.
and
We team up with clankers from time to time for the greater good.
but during that conversation, I was I was talking with somebody and kind of like, well, AI is used as a tool. I mean, I build cars. I'm not going to, have an impact driver and just use a hand wrench because hand wrench is more authentic. I mean, an impact driver is designed for me to use as a tool. And during this conversation, it was kind of like, well, not everybody has money, but there are ways that you can use online platforms to design stuff for free. And we kind of had this conversation in the comments. And by the end of that, I was like, I do like to draw. I do like to come up with that. I mentioned that earlier. Maybe not comic book style drawings, but I do like to come up with logos from time to time, especially with some of the builds that I have.
Mm.
And it gave me a new resource that I can now use. And then you have the other side of the conversation where somebody was just completely upset with me using AI. It offered no help, just tried to attack every single aspect of
Hey,
what we're
how
doing.
dare you use AI? You are a monster. Your parents are monsters. The primordial pond of ooze from which we all spring was a monster.
Okay, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, but it just felt more of like a personal attack. So if you disagree with us, please have a conversation.
Yeah, and we might change our minds. We're human.
Yeah, and I mean, there's that meme of the guy who sits on a corner with his folding lifetime table. It's like change my mind, and
That's
it's
right.
always something like super erratic. Like, I mean, Muppets Treasure Island is one of the best Muppets movies.
Oh,
Change my mind.
I will die on that hill. That's a hill I will die on.
Yes, we
Oh,
agree on that.
yeah, that's right. Oh, Tim Curry as Long John Silver. That was the role he was born to play in. You know what?
Oh yeah, for sure. But have a conversation. We want to invite you guys to have a conversation. Um, Again, this is going to be one of the few episodes we have that cross posts throughout all of our channels.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, During, if you don't like one aspect or the other, I mean, you don't have to follow everything that we do.
But we would appreciate if you would.
But we do appreciate it. You don't have to listen to everything that we say, but we do appreciate if you do. If there's something that you dislike or something you feel uncomfortable talking about, shoot us an email. That's what our email's for.
Yeah.
It's a way for you to kind of discreetly carry out these conversations. Maybe we might be able to have like a WhatsApp or something like that to where we can actually sit and talk with you specifically just to carry out the conversation.
Also, if there's a topic you would like us to cover, like I don't know, we could do you know, the life of Jack Kirby, or we could talk about the current state of like the future of the Democratic Republican Party, or
The rise and fall of the Ottoman Empire.
oh man, okay, don't get me started there. Mehmet the
Definitely.
Second versus Constantine the 11th. Okay, yeah, no.
definitely, definitely for another time. But if there's a topic or something specific in these fields that you would like us to cover, more than happy to cover them. One thing I will not condone, one thing I will not get into is conspiracies.
Mm,
Um, we are here to talk about facts, maybe personal opinions on some matters.
mhm.
We might joke about conspiracies and things such as that. There are way darker truths that nobody really knows about all different topics. And one thing I will not do is go into a topic that I don't 100% feel confident on. I know that there's certain topics about like terrorism attacks, certain things that happen throughout history that are kind of washed or obscene that have very few proof but get over embellished in the news or get tossed around by people because it's just a rumor. Those are not topics we will get into unless there's cold hard facts or it's a topic that we feel like we can carry on a conversation about. I'm also not going to go into the rising prices of Ulta products because I know nothing about makeup. I don't care to know anything about makeup. I am leaving that 100% to my daughter to figure out. I'm leaving it 100% up to like my family to just buy all the right stuff. If you tell me this is the product you want, that's the product you're getting.
Maybe we should have a special episode. Just have our wives come on there and talk about economic bubbles and makeup.
my wife doesn't really like to use makeup, and she's kind of shy sometimes. And so, yeah,
Your wife is a really nice lady, though, folks. You don't know it. You don't know his wife, but she is. She's very nice. She's a very good person.
She puts up with a lot. She has to be a good person to be with somebody like me.
Well, obviously.
I mean, there's a yin and yang for a reason. I just fail to see where the little circles are in our two halves sometimes. There's kind of a yin and yang, and within that yin and yang, there's another yin and yang, and it just kind of keeps going. If you look hard enough, you'll find some reason why it makes sense why we're together. But she tolerates and puts up with a lot.
Well, she would have to.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, that's all we got for today. Thanks for listening to the first episode of Distinguished Dorks. Again, my name is Justin.
And my name is Tom. Stay dorky, people.
Stay dorky?
Stay dorky? Yeah, why not?